Hi there, I'm Jen Cassetta, your Chief Badassery Officer. If you're feeling drained, hesitant, stuck in self-doubt, or you just have a case of the vlogs, the Art of Badassery podcast is here to help you unleash your mojo once and for all. We'll provide you with tips, techniques, and real-life examples of how you can kick ass in all areas of your life. You'll learn how to flex your mental muscles, rise above fears, and turn setbacks into superpowers. So let's enter the dojo and let's get to work. Welcome everyone to the Art of Badassery podcast. I'm Jen Cassetta, your Chief Badassery Officer. And today I have a really special guest, Miss Karen A. Clark. And we're going to talk about that A in a little bit. But first I want to share who Karen is. Karen A. Clark is a corporate executive of 38 years in the financial services industry. She's also a confidence coach. She is also a dancer, singer, producer, actor, you name it, an overall badass. But here's what's also crazy. Karen is also a grandmother and a great-grandmother. And if you saw Karen's arms, they are ripped. I just need to know what. How do you have those ripped arms, Karen A? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Miss Badass Jennifer Cassetta. It's so lovely to be here. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, see, I'm an old chick, so when you're an old chick, you fit a lot of things into your life.
Yes, you do. But you have such a packed life. And so the first time, this is how I know Karen A. I actually shared a stage with her once and then saw her speak another time and then invited her to speak at a networking organization I was a part of. So I have had the pleasure of hearing her speak now 3 times. And that is why she's here, because I know she's a black belt in badassery and we'll dig into why, but also she's the type of person that when you see speak, you're like, I want some of that. How do I get some of that? I'll have what she's having. Confidence on the menu, perhaps. So, Karen, how does someone develop such intense and authentic confidence over such a life?
Yeah, well, I tell you, Jen, it has been a journey. And thank you again for having me on. And audience, if you have not read Jen's book, you better get it. I bought quite a few of them for Christmas and gave them to friends and family who could use it. But I was so pleased when I met you, Jen, and I'm glad we have stayed in touch all of this time.
Me too.
Because I've learned a lot from your book. I learned a lot from you, and I just enjoy your energy and appreciate being with you every time we're together. But I will tell you on the confidence tip, I was one of the shyest kids ever growing up, and nobody believes that. Even my best friend in the world doesn't believe that. But my family would tell you I was the kid that was really afraid to speak up in public. Yes. And to make things even harder for me, I had to wear glasses, prescription glasses in the 5th grade. And we lived in Germany, and all they had was those black GI, issues, one style, one type of glass. So that made me even more in my shell. But it was crazy because I would get on a stage and dancing act in the background, never in the front, always in the background, because I was so afraid. I thought people, if I spoke up in class or in a group of people, I thought they would see my heart, banging through my chest. And even though I'm a brown-skinned girl, I just knew they would be able to see, because my face would be burning and I'd have little beads of sweat whenever I was about to speak in public. And I was so afraid, but I wanted to be much bigger. And when I got to college, I had an experience, and I was forced to audition in an amphitheater as part of a class in front of a whole group of people. And I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to burn up and on that stage or drop through the floor or die. And I got through it. And what that taught me is that you can speak like in front of a whole room of people. And it wasn't great, but I got a part and nobody laughed. Nobody laughed. Nobody was like, oh, look at that girl, and it was standing room only for those auditions. And it changed my life because I actually survived. I survived. And I'm like, all the things that I thought would happen didn't happen. And that made me so passionate about helping other people. And, because public speaking is still one of the biggest fears in the world. And
Which
public
is
speaking
crazy.
is just, that could be just sitting in a conference room with 5 people. It doesn't mean, an amphitheater or anything. It's a
Yes.
terribly tough thing to do if you're a shy kid. And so I started building my confidence and took all of the dancing, singing, acting that I had in me and, raised it up to my voice. And next thing you know, I could speak in front of people. I had started, theater became my passion, and got lead roles and all of that. And then came to LA, tried to
Mhm.
dance, sing, and act my way into, superstardom, and nothing was happening without an agent. And I had a degree in
Mhm.
economics. So I went to a headhunter and she got me an interview at Wells Fargo Bank. And that's how I ended up in financial services. But I never gave up the dancing, singing, acting. And in fact, I have a theater. I have a 90-seat theater, and I can dance, sing, act all I want. And, other people can
I
dance.
love that so much. You have your own theater. Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do, Karen. So I love what you said about public speaking. It could be in front of 5 people in a boardroom, right? We often think public speaking is on a stage with a microphone with hundreds of people. And yes, that is scary. That's scary to me still, every time I get up there. But it's some folks really have a hard time speaking in front of anyone, getting on
Yeah,
social
yeah,
media, putting
yeah,
yourself out there. So I'm sure some of the tips that you're going to share with us today is about how to do that
yeah.
in the most authentic way for you,
Yes,
right?
yes, 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 yes.
Because not
So,
everybody's a performer, right?
right, not everybody's a performer, but even if you say you're in your profit committee or your PTA meeting or your church group, I mean, and you want your voice to be heard,
Mm-hmm.
it's so extremely important. And it's not as easy as some people who are adept at it think, right? So yeah, I do have a lot of tips. And in the work that I do, I also have a partner. Her name is Irina Melkumian, and we combine our
I
work.
met
And
her.
so you met Irina,
Mhm.
yes. And so
Mhm.
she does the stress relief, the breath work portion
Mhm.
of our teaching. And then I do the confidence coaching. So we call our seminars catch and release, because you catch your confidence. And then through the breath work and the stress relief, you release any obstacle that is standing in the way of full execution once you
Wow.
become confident. So the work is deep. And I do have, some little tips and tools, but here's what we do when we
Yeah.
really dive into it. I help women understand who the hell you really are beyond that 9.5 by 11 resume, or that even smaller bio that
Mhm.
people force us into, right? And you go out and you
Mhm.
look for a job, or you're on LinkedIn, or you're just presenting yourself, and you're trying so hard. We've tried so hard to fit into that 9.5 by 11 and shrink it to 1 page if possible, no more than a page and a half. And you better make sure you fit the keywords. All the
Right.
keywords, the keywords that we are looking for is not the ones that you have on your resume, because if not, you're not suitable. But see, those keywords don't
Mhm.
tell who we are. I don't care if you have all 10 of the requirements of the job. That doesn't tell who you really are. And so when
Mm.
you're sitting in a conference room and you're feeling marginalized and those little microaggressions are coming at you all day long, if you cannot gird yourself with who you really are down at the core, then that 9.5 by 11 becomes you, and
Mm.
you're shrunk, and you just continue to shrink because nobody wants to know what's really behind Jen Cassetta. How did you
Mhm.
really get to be who you are? And if employers understood what women actually have to go through just to show up every day, they'd be paying them top dollar to come work in their company, because there are so many sides of us, but we
Mm.
forget about them. We forget about them because we're trying so hard to get this degree or that degree and fit into this keyword and this resume and this bio. But that's not what gave you the grit and the guts of who you really are. And women have had to hold this world up from the beginning of time. I don't care if you got a degree. I don't care if you have kids. We are still the nurturers of this damn world. We are
Mm.
badasses. We are
Mm-hmm.
badasses. And that's why I love your book. That's the perfect phrase. And so you need to understand. And what we do in our seminars is we take you through a journey so that you can really remember who the hell you
You
are, damn
are.
it. So when I'm
Yes.
sitting at that conference room table and you're making me feel a little marginalized and a little shrunken, you know what? I'm going to remember who the hell I am and I'm going to rise. And you may not ever even recognize it, but guess what, buddy? I'm so far over your head. I'm so far up here. I'm going to walk out this conference room feeling like $1 million. I don't care if my point of view was actually recognized. I don't care if I got the W, because I still remember who the hell I am. And you know what? Y'all can't even understand it.
Okay, do you all see? Do you all understand why you just want some of this, right? So, okay, there's this quote that I love, and I put it in some of my keynotes, depending on the audience and the theme of the event that I'm speaking at. But there's a quote that Oprah says that's coming up for me. That's like, when you combine your purpose with your passion, no one can touch you.
Mm-mm.
And I sometimes have women stand up and say that, like, no one can touch me,
Yes.
when you remember who you are. And I think
Remember who you are.
that's part of the passion and purpose, right? It could be a lot of things, but I think it's important to remember how powerful you are. And that's the work that
Yes.
you're doing. Catch and release. I love that phrase. So your part is the catch. Can you maybe just share, obviously we want to go to catch and release and do it with you live, but like one little tidbit that helps women remember who they are.
Yeah, yeah. So I take women through an exercise because, and let me preface it with this. There may be some women sitting here saying, okay, that's great if you've got a great background and all these accolades and you've done all these things in your life, but what about me? I haven't done anything. You know what? And that's a self-talk we give each other. Or give ourselves, not each other. We wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare walk up to a woman and say, well, that was dumb, you dummy. But I say it to myself. I
Yeah.
say it to myself. I might drop something. Oh, you dummy. And then I have to correct. I have to self-correct. I do self-correct
Yes.
now, but there were years when my self-talk was not complimentary, it was not loving, it was not nurturing. And so then what would I call on when I'm sitting at that conference room table and I'm feeling, psychologically beat down? There was nothing to draw on because I also was downgrading and downputting and calling myself in my head bad names and calling myself stupid and dumb and you're not smart and look what happened to you and you're not as good as. We do that to ourselves. And so there's no reserves to draw on. And so when we get in that seminar, I take women back and make them think and remember, what are some things that you did that you are extremely proud of, even as a child?
Yes.
Who loves you? Somebody loves you tremendously. Is it your cousin? Is it the neighbor? Is it that little kid? And who do you love? And who do you give to? And what are your special qualities that maybe you wouldn't even tell anybody else, but that you really love about yourself? How do you make yourself laugh? What did you promise that little girl when you were young? And we go through a process of really starting to get back in touch with the things about ourselves that are just so precious and loving and things we've accomplished and done. And we start to get rid of the negative self-talk, right? And we start to build ourselves up. It's hours worth of a journey.
I'm sure.
However, we get to the point where we feel free to design our own introduction based on who we really are, not the degrees we've gotten, not how many widgets I sold for the job, not for how many licenses I have to sell investments or how many no, we get back to, who are you? I am Karen A. I'm Karen. I love my name, Karen A. And you know what? A lot of women named Karen, they just go by Karen. But I am Karen A. I am the Karen A for anybody else who has an A. I am of the Bolden Bowen house. I come from two strong families. And I married into the Clark nation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a giver of life. I birthed some damn babies. I'm a lover of lands. You know what? Because I'm a philanthropist. And I do what I can for causes that I care about, whether it's volunteerism, sending a few dollars, a prayer, connecting with the people, right? I'm a producer. I produce all kinds of shit, but I produce shows. I produce, you know, good thoughts. I produce love.
Mm.
I am a thought leader.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
a thought leader. Yes. And I am a coach of confidence. I'm a coach of confidence. None of that is on my resume, but
Right.
that's who I am. And guess what? I can add to my introduction and my accolades. I can design my life and be who I want. I can take all that stuff in the past that nobody else knew about or cared about. But
Mm-hmm.
guess what? That's what made me, me.
Mm-hmm. Karen
Yeah,
A. Clark.
that's right. That's right. So who are you? Who are you really? What
Yeah.
did you forget about? Let's dive into that and let's get rid of any trauma
Mm-hmm.
that is standing in your way of recognizing who you truly are. Let's deal with that trauma, and then we go into that, and then we get back to
Mm-hmm.
the confidence. When you walking out, you not only have tools and tips and an understanding of how to get to that place, but you got a supportive community, and you know how to sustain and maintain that. Because see,
Yes.
I'm a very confident person too, but I
Mm-hmm.
get beat down by the end of the damn week. So
Yes.
I need to understand how do I get that? How do I build that up? We teach people that. We teach.
Yes. Ugh, I love it, Karen. When I heard that part of the talk for the third time because I loved it so much, I got up and introduced myself as Jennifer A. Cassetta, mother of cats, writer of books, and coaching of women, right? Like it's
Right.
the way you can introduce yourself, the way that you can say who you truly are, not
Yes.
just what you do,
Yes.
can make such a big difference just in the way you feel about yourself.
And the
So
way
I
you feel
love
about
that.
yourself.
Yeah, can you just tell everyone real quick how you came up with that? I know the
Yes,
story,
I
but
can.
yeah.
I can tell everybody. So I over the pandemic, I loved the pandemic. A lot of people, didn't love it. And I didn't like to say when I was in it, oh, I'm having a really great time.
Mm.
But one of the things that I started doing over the pandemic was watching TV because prior to it's like, where's the time to
Right.
watch TV? And I felt, kind of guilty about that too, right? And then by the time you finish everything in the day, and it's like, oh, I could watch TV right now, but then I got to get up in the morning. Well, over the pandemic, I can watch TV, anytime like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, I can turn on TV. I can watch it
Yep.
till 2 or 3 in the morning, 4 if I want, even if I have to get up the next day for a meeting to go to work, because guess what? I'm just zipping across my room in my, chair with wheels, going in front of my computer, fluffing up my hair, just like I was doing earlier,
Yep.
because I didn't know we were going to be on the air, and
Mhm.
throwing a little lipstick and bam.
Bam.
Because if you're tired, then you're at home at the end of the day. Well, you're not commuting or anything. It just all worked out. So I started watching the Game of Thrones. I had always wanted to watch the Game of Thrones. I'm like,
Yep.
it's such a big, I watched it after it was all over, but I had heard so much about it and I
Mhm.
fell in love with it. And there was a woman that my main character that I loved in there, Daenerys Stormborn. And
Mm.
she was a woman who came from a royal family. The whole family was murdered,
Mm.
assassinated, but she and her brother escaped. Well, he, asshole that he was, sold her into being a slave for a king, wife of a king, but really sex slave of a king. But she's
Mm.
like, I'm not going to have that. And she consulted with some of the women in the tribe because it was a whole nother tribe and a whole nother land. She didn't understand their customs, their language, anything. But
Mhm.
she learned, and these women, wise women, taught her, you can co-opt him.
Mhm.
You don't have to be the sex slave. Co-opt him, gain his trust. Anyway, they fell in love. And she actually ruled the tribe with him, which was completely unheard of.
Mhm.
And he ended up dying, and she was relegated to go live in the home of the widows. And she's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So she escaped, had to
Right.
escape. And then she built an army and started going across the world freeing people. And so she became Daenerys Stormborn, freer of men, release her chains, mother of dragons. And I was like, this is amazing. This is
Mhm.
amazing. And that's how I
I
came
love
into
it.
it, came
Oh,
into it. Yeah.
it's so good. It's so good. It makes me want to watch Game of Thrones, even though I haven't yet. Amazing. Well, I just want to remind everyone, this is the part where I just remind you what a black belt in badassery is and why I curate these guests to come and share their stories. And a black belt in badassery is someone who has overcome probably many, but some big challenges for sure, and now uses that inner strength, that grit, that grace, all of it to help others rise. So, Karen A., would you mind sharing with everyone and me too, kind of what would you say is one or two of the biggest challenges you've had to
Mhm.
overcome on this journey of badassery?
Yeah, well, I had one really huge disruption in my life, and I got married in college, and we had both of our children before we graduated.
Oh,
And actually, my husband had a 4-year-old child when we got married, so we had three
wow.
before we got out of college. And yeah, they go
That's a
through
challenge
process.
right there.
That's a challenge right there, but it worked out, and completely unplanned, but it worked out. And 26 years later, he passed unexpectedly. Had a
Your
heart attack.
husband.
Yeah, had a heart attack, and came home from work, and he was gone. And so that changed everything
Mm,
in my life after 26 years,
I'm so
it just
sorry.
changed everything. And I had just started a new job,
Mhm.
and every decision that I made, every thought that I had, every drive that I took was impacted because our unit was so close.
Yeah.
Kids, our husband, he
Yeah.
was so close, so close. We did a lot of stuff together,
Mm,
ministry and traveling, and so all of a sudden,
yeah.
one of that unit is gone. And
And
for
you had
anybody
no
that's
idea it was
lost,
coming?
yeah, and with no idea that it was coming. And so anybody that's listening to this that's had that type of disruption can attest. It takes a minute to
Of course.
get back and figure out, okay, so now who am I? Now who
Mm.
am I? And how do I proceed?
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate to work for a woman who had had a similar experience. And
Oh,
she said, don't worry about the HR handbook that says you get, 3 days or
oh God.
whatever, 5 days when your spouse dies.
No, is
To
that all
take,
it is in corporate America?
Mhm.
You're joking.
No. And so I imagine most people probably take personal leave or,
Yeah.
whatever. But no, yeah, that's how it is. And
Oh,
she said, don't even worry about it. She said, come back when you want to come back.
oh, thank God for her.
Thank God. And I ended up staying off for like 6 weeks, six,
Mm.
8 weeks, maybe. I
Which is
think I might
still
have gone
not,
back after, it was still not, I think
it's
I
still
might have
not a
ended up
long
like,
time in
yeah,
the
no,
grand scheme of
for a
things.
life partner.
Right.
But that was gracious. That was very gracious. And I think I actually came back after 6 weeks, and I just didn't feel ready. And she said, go back home. Go back
Mm.
home. And I think I did go back home for a couple of weeks. But Jen, that was really, really hard. I had to figure out
Mhm.
just how I was going to proceed,
Of
in
course.
life.
And
And
missing him.
yeah. And I actually took breath work from my partner, Irina, last year, and dealt with finally some of that, sadness, and, you move on, but I finally dealt with some of that missingness.
The stuff that was still locked in the body a
Mhm,
bit.
mhm, 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 mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's difficult for
Well,
anybody.
thank you for sharing that, because one of the things that I ask everyone is, how do we heal from these massive life takedowns? And for you, like, again, this was many years ago, right? How
Mhm.
many?
It was 12.
12 years ago, and you're still processing the grief left over, like you said, leftover grief that's
Mhm,
still in there deep
mhm,
down
mhm.
inside. So breathwork is one of those tools that has really helped. What, anything else over the years?
You know, yeah, I will share. I haven't shared much, but actually am writing a book about
Oh,
this
yeah.
topic. My son and I are writing a book together, but yeah,
Oh,
he was
nice.
incarcerated a few years ago. And it's one of those things when you're a professional, you feel like, well, I can't tell anybody that.
Hmm.
I can't talk, but there's a lot of professionals who
Hmm.
have this situation. Well, the book that my son and I are writing it's called Pros and Cons,
Oh, I love those
Professionals and
terms.
Convicts.
Oh gosh. Is there any literary agents listening right now? Because you need to get on this.
But it's really, I'm writing it so that people like me, men and women, can feel like, you know what, it's another part of life. It's something that, happened. I don't have to, feel like
Shame and
it's yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's huge, stigma
yep.
in a corporate environment, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Excellent.
but that was hard. That was hard. That was really, 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 really hard.
I bet. Would
Um,
you say that writing has helped you process
mm,
it as one of
mhm,
those
mhm.
tools?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would say so. And my son and I are very, very close. So it's also something that, is therapeutic for both of
Mm.
us to, work through this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but the message for anybody listening that's, has a situation with a son or a daughter or just a family member is, life happens, and they're, don't feel alone. Don't feel alone, because look at all the people in prison. There are somebody's kids.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Absolutely.
parents of all of those folks in prison. You're not alone. Doesn't mean you have to hide or
Mm-hmm.
feel like, life is over. Life is over. And
Completely.
in fact, some very good things have actually come out of this situation. And I'm a person that believes that all things will work together for the good of those who love God as called according to his purpose, whoever your God, whoever your
Mm-hmm.
highest power, universe, if you are aligned, things will work out.
Mm,
They'll work,
yes.
they'll
Thank
work out.
you.
And it's hard to believe of, but this universe is huge, and our lives are, they're a drop in the bucket, but they're also, however long you live, every second, every minute, every hour is an opportunity to experience something new, do something different, meet
Mm-hmm.
somebody else, change a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we just have to remember, in the midst of a serious issue or problem, it will pass.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look back on your life and the things that you've been through and the grit that you've developed, you'll
Mm-hmm.
probably be okay.
Probably. It's sometimes just like to go back to my book, The Art of Badassery, right? And what you're saying exactly fits into both yellow belt and white belt chapters. So in the yellow belt, when we are bouncing back from tragedy, trauma, drama, life's disappointments, in order to kind of, roll with the punches, that's one of the strategies, you need to find your people to lean on. And in order to do that, you have to share your story. So I'm just so impressed that not only are you sharing your story, like, in general here on the podcast, you're actually writing a book about it. That takes such guts, such courage. And again, for anyone out there, I always say this, like, I'm not saying you have to put all your stuff out there in the world on social media, etc. Just share with some people and find, even if it's like a private group, a private Facebook group, there are always people that have gone through your particular challenge. You're not the first person in this world to go through that, right? And now that you're basically creating a community of people that are going to pick up this book and say, yeah, I'm going through this too, and now I'm not alone. And then
Yeah,
all of a sudden, when you do that, when you open yourself up like that, you allow solutions, people, right, to show up for you
yeah,
almost.
yeah, yeah,
Solutions to your
yeah.
problems, support, a hug, a casserole, whatever it is, right? If
Yes,
you're closed, if you if you're all closed about it, you don't share, right? How can you expect those things to happen? Those
yes, yes.
synchronicities and
That's
all,
right.
like you said, the universe coming up with all these gifts. And you
Mm-hmm.
even mentioned there's good stuff that has come from this already.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
love it.
Yes, you got to be open. And so I actually just started meditating a year ago.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about this.
I just never understood it. I just
Yeah.
never understood and never pursued it. But I started meditating and it truly has changed my life, but it also has opened up the door in the world to like-minded people,
Mm-hmm.
like-minded people. And, you know, one of my mantras is that I've learned from this meditation, this breathwork journey is I don't have to chase. I can attract to me
Mm.
what I need. You know, it can be very graceful, but you just got to believe, you got to be aligned, you got to have a community. Like you said, you got to be open. You got to
Yeah.
be open to put yourself out there
Mm-hmm.
to some degree and to some extent, right? And so
Absolutely.
again, that requires a bit of confidence.
Yes, it does, which is all coming back for full
Yes,
circle now. And just
yes.
so you know, folks who listen, like I sometimes think this is like a podcast just to always wind up talking about meditation because it's that important to me. And I could go on with this conversation a whole hour just about meditation because I'm so deep into it.
Um,
But can you just share quickly like what is your favorite type of meditation these days?
Okay. So I think manifestation, but I'm still learning. I'm still learning. So,
Mhm.
you know, in a day, I might do two or three different, you know, meditations. But like sometimes I'm more, I just wake up and go on YouTube and it's like, what do I need today?
Mm.
Productivity? Do I need calmness? Do I need peace? And I just go on YouTube and find a guided meditation for that. And for me, it's the voice is like really important, you know, so I'll try to be,
Mm.
I like the voice. And then but I've really been actually studying the scientific laws of attraction,
Mhm.
manifestation, you know, visualization,
Yes.
you know, vibration. So there's a couple of teachers that you know, and then brain and body. I've just really been digging into the science of it all.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, different meditations throughout the day, but for me, mainly guided meditation, but I
Okay.
am experimenting with just, you know, just myself. It's just not as easy, you know,
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
especially for a newbie, but
Mhm.
any of it serves me well. I'm telling you, it
Okay.
just has provided a focus, a calmness, you know, an assuredness, just sort of a chill
Mhm.
mode for
Mhm.
me. And it just has made every day just so much, I don't know, it's
Better.
just, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
some whole mellow vibe, you know? I'm gonna tell you all something else.
I, I also just want to say, everyone, it's
Yes,
not too late to start, right? Karen's 1 year into it, and
one year,
she's a great grandmother, so no one has any excuse as far as
one year
how.
into it.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, is extending my life
Yeah.
because when you can relieve yourself of the stress,
Mhm.
which is basically what meditation does for me. It relieves me of any sort of, you know, stress. That extends your life because you then are taking care of your health.
Yeah.
Because long-term illnesses, you know, major
S-
illness, they come from stress, a buildup of stress.
Stress is a killer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. I just love this conversation so much. And like I said, we could have talked about so much grief. We could have talked deeply about meditation, manifestation, but I want to get to my rapid fire questions and
Okay.
then make sure everyone gets to find out how they can connect with you, maybe come to a catch and release day because I know I want to come to the next one that you're doing. So, rapid fire, are you ready?
I'm ready.
What was your favorite food as a child?
Watermelon. I just got to say it. It was and still is.
I love watermelon. Two, if you could have a drink with anyone, living or dead, who would it be and what would be in your cup?
Oh my God, Jen, that's hard. Are you
I know.
kidding me? I'm gonna just go with Harriet Tubman, damn it. And
Okay.
I just gotta understand her motivation. That chick was serious, you know what I'm saying?
Serious badass.
And she also, and then I don't know who heard her way back then, but in the latest movie, she talks about you have to practice listening for the divine, you
Oh
know?
yeah. What
That
movie is
also
this?
impacted me. It was the last one made about Harriet Tubman,
Okay.
and it was Academy Award. Cynthia, somebody played the lead. Yeah, it was
Okay.
about released about a year ago, year and a half ago.
Okay.
I thought that was fascinating, you know.
Got it. What would
Okay,
you
and
have a drink?
in
What's
the
the
cup,
drink?
the drink, something with ginger in it, maybe or either gin tonic, maybe a gin tonic.
Gin and tonic with Harriet Tubman. That's awesome. Okay. What's your favorite personal development book?
It's very simple. I just reread it. Who Moved My Cheese?
Uh-huh. Isn't it like don't move my who moved my cheese?
Who Moved My
Who
Cheese?
moved my cheese? Okay, good.
It's such an easy, quick read, and it's like, yeah, girl.
Exactly.
Yeah, get back to reality.
Okay, good.
Nobody owe you nothing.
And then last but not least, what's your favorite hype song? What do you play?
Okay. Anderson .Paak. I've been playing this for the past few days, been thinking about over my show with it. You may never come down, come down. Dun, 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 dun. Mm-mm. Anyway, I don't know the words. It's just, it's
Okay.
got this beat, and I'm like, I should open my, get everybody going, open my show with that.
Oh, do
Anderson
it.
.Paak, come down.
Okay, thank you. I'll look it up. I'll make sure it's in the show notes. Karen A. Clark, how can everyone connect with you? Where are they going to find you?
They can find me at Karen A at the Karen A Confidence Coach.com. They can connect with me on my website, which is www, the Karen A Confidence Coach. But I tell you the easiest way, just look up Karen A Clark, because I'm the only one that uses the A. If you look up Karen Clark, you will get 10 million of them. You're not gonna know which one is me. But I'm telling you, if you Google Karen A Clark, nobody's caught on yet. Nobody that uses the damn A.
I feel
And
like
then
I'm the sort of,
LinkedIn, Karen
yeah.
A. Clark. But I'm Karen A. Clark. You know, Instagram, Karen A. Clark Instagram was hacked. So somebody
Oh,
else has my Karen A. Clark on there. But I'm not
okay.
on Instagram at Karen A. Confidence Coach.
Got it. Okay. We're all going to look you up and make
Facebook
sure.
as well. Same thing.
Facebook. Okay. Karen A. Clark.
Use the A, you'll find me.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to
I'm gonna
start
give
using
one more.
it.
I'm gonna give one more. People are afraid to do this, but I'm not.
Yeah.
213
Mm.
344 9009.
Wow.
Text me. I will text you right back. 213 344 9009.
You are such a badass. A. I
You are
love you so
too.
much. Thank you so much for being on here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your confidence. Does everyone out there, don't you just want some of that? Or can't you just remember that you already have it? It's there. We all have it. It's inside. Just remember who you are. That's all for today. Thanks, everyone.